Welcome to the Supermoviebuff podcast. Today, we'll be discussing the Oscars, what won, what lost, and what we felt like got snubbed. Buckle up. This is a long episode, and we had a lot of fun making it, and we hope you have a lot of fun watching it. Hi, welcome back to the Supermoviebuff podcast. I'm Patrick, and here with my co-hosts.
Was it me starring Mattias Olsson?
Well, my name's Benjamin.
And I'm Mike, also known as Filmman Mike on TikTok, for those of you who are from TikTok land. And today, I was the one who picked the category. Today, the Oscars just happened a few weeks ago, and I thought it would be a good time to kind of talk about the results, especially in the bigger categories, and give our opinions on who we think should have won, and any other conversation related to the Oscars that comes up. So for Best Picture, the eventual winner was One Battle After Another. I was not particularly upset by this. I think it was an okay picture to win. It was fine. For me, so long as Marty Supreme didn't win, I was overjoyed. Like, I was like, Marty Supreme wins, I'm going to boycott this ceremony. But for me, my preference would have been for Sinners. I thought Sinners was for as funny and as satirical and as sort of sharp-witted and edgy as One Battle After Another was, I thought I enjoyed the sort of more completeness of Sinners. I enjoyed that it was a film that seemed to try to combine genres in ways that were really interesting in terms of music and history and commentaries on racial stuff and commentaries on racism and even the idea of having the very brave thing of having the talk of equality be in the mouth of the vampires. I thought that was really interesting, of like, okay, why do we have to transcend our humanity entirely in order for equality to be possible? I thought that was really interesting. To me, entertainment value matters. Like, I'm not saying every film has to be incredibly entertaining, but if you can combine all these deep themes in a film that is really entertaining, you generally get a plus, as opposed to a movie that you can kind of go like, okay, I get the exercise that he's doing, but I'm a little bit kind of lost or a little bored in the middle of it. And there were points in One Battle After Another that, for me, I just kind of felt a little lost narratively. And again, like, we're nitpicking. I'm not unhappy with it winning eventually. I did think it's a very divisive film in a lot of ways, and the way it satirizes both sides of the aisle, I thought would actually work against it. I thought it was going to be the Republicans are too racist and the liberals are too idealistic and kind of stupid. I didn't think that we would bond as a country over, okay, this is the film that we're all going to agree is the best film. So I thought at least with Sinners, there's kind of a more unified story. Again, no, not really upset with it, but just kind of surprised, especially with like how much energy Sinners still had kind of going for it, even as we entered the ceremonies. But yeah, that was my opinion. I would have voted for Sinners, but I'm curious about it. And since I'm the leader of the conversation, I guess I'll say, Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, right out the gate, Marty Supreme. Hated that movie. If that had won, I don't even know how it got nominated Best Picture, honestly. I just think it's just like the Safdies always are like, what if we took something like, ping pong, we made it stressful for 2.5 hours. But everyone is an
I have to say something here.
Say
it. Ping pong is not the same thing as table tennis.
I know.
Ping pong is a version of table tennis, and as a championship winning table tennis player, I have to say that.
I thought you were going to say something about the movie. I thought you were going to be like, in defense of Marty Supreme.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it spoiler free, but just one of those movies where it's just like every character is just unlikable to such a degree that you're just like, there's no one you're rooting for.
And beyond that, I didn't want to be in the room with any of them.
No, they're all like so easy. But I agree with Mike. I think Sinners.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that the usual thing with Safdie's movies? I've only seen Uncut Gems, and that's the same thing. You hate all the characters, and you but you kind of are in Uncut Gems, at least you're kind of invested in his story, even though he's an idiot and you hate him. Isn't that kind of the thing with all of their movies, that you're supposed to hate them?
I mean, I think it is, but my issue is more that, like, I didn't enjoy watching it. I didn't like the characters. And then by the end of it, I disagreed with the message he's trying to explain with the movie. And I also just didn't, like, get entertainment value from it. So, like, it didn't check, like, any box. Because I'll watch, like, the movie, you know, like, you watch, like, Taxi Driver and you don't like Travis Bickle. But you walk away with, like, I understand the story and the sociology they're trying to explain of, like, this isolated man doing bad things and the way that culture responds to his violence. But after Murray Supreme, like, the takeaway from the movie was like, this is our takeaway. And I was like, well, I don't agree with your thesis and how we're supposed to respond. Because I won't ruin it, but they tried to do something with the ending, and you're like, you didn't earn this ending.
No, the ending is beautiful, but they didn't earn it.
They didn't earn that kind of an ending, so it kind of, but, so that was my issue with it. You know, it's like, because I don't mind movies with terrible characters. You just have to be saying something relevant with them. I don't want to sit there.
There also is, and then I'll let you talk, Patrick. But like the other thing too is that at least in Uncut Gems, there were other people that didn't like the Adam Sandler character, and so you kind of had some self-awareness of he is not popular within his own world. Everyone loves this character of Marty Supreme for reasons I don't understand. Like not the audience. I mean, in the movie. Like, in the movie, he doesn't have people who call him out on his...
Well, they do, but they're also terrible, too, in their own ways. Like, even the people that don't like him, they're just as skeezy. They're just skeezy in different ways.
Yeah.
So, but I got to agree with Mike that I feel like Sinners should win. I feel like one battle after another, and the controversy between winning over Sinners is that both films really looked at, like, racial tension and racial inequality. Whereas, like, I feel like Sinners was a more, like, direct approach and really carried those themes better. Whereas One Battle After Another, like, when you think back to that film, you don't think about a film being about racism. You think about it being a film about a father and a daughter, at least for me. Yeah. So I think, like, a lot of people were, like, kind of upset at the way that happened. But also, I feel like Sinners is a film that's going to stay relevant for generations. Like, you show Sinners in 10 years, it's going to feel just as fresh and just as exciting and just as relevant as when it came out last year. But One Battle After Another, you're going to have to explain so much culturally when you show that movie in 10 years. Like, oh, well, here, let me explain to you what we were all going through and the vibe that this movie was made in. And they're going to have that Turner Classic Movies thing where they're like, come on, like, when this movie came out, people were, you know, like, they'll have to explain the vibe around why the movie hit the way that it did. Whereas Sinners, I feel like, is going to be one of those, like, timeless movies, you know, that just works. Like, you can watch Citizen Kane today and it still just works. Like, Sinners is going to be like that.
Okay. Yeah, but it sounds like you're kind of like me. You're like, I'm not upset at the fact that it.
No, and I wasn't like upset because I think both films, at least, like, it's a movie that I feel like was really well done.
Yeah. And
like really high artistic value, high entertainment value, like very well crafted movie. I don't disagree with anything the movie's particularly saying. You know, it just was like, I just felt like this movie was just like culturally more impactful for film and for generationally speaking moving forward. Did you guys see Sinners?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Sinners last week when we were planning to, or whenever we were supposed to watch it. I watched that and Sentimental Value on the same day just to get it into, and then one of you had to cancel. So that's.
Yeah.
I liked One Battle After Another. I don't love it. I think maybe the messaging and satire goes a little over my head because I don't follow news, and especially not American news, so I don't care about that part. So I think maybe there are parts that
and that's what I was meaning too. It's just like,
yeah. I think the first act of One Battle is hilarious. I think it's brilliant. And then the middle part I don't like. It's dragging, it's boring. It's not bad, but I don't care for it. And then the third act is fun. But yeah, it's the middle part that I don't really. Yeah, It's fine. And then Sinners, I thought it was good to great. I wouldn't have picked that one. I think Michael B. Jordan is great in one of the roles, and he's not very good in the other. I think it's the one that dies that I don't like. So it's the main lead he's good in. I don't care for the other performance that much. I think it's fine. I think you're probably right. It's going to last longer. It's going to last in 50 years. It's probably going to be able to watch it and understand what it's about, because racial issues are still a thing. And then I saw Sentimental Value, which I really liked. I thought it was very good. I don't have much to say. Have you seen it, the two of you?
I have.
It's on my list to watch. So
Yeah.
What did you think about it, Mike?
I actually liked it a little bit more than One Battle After Another. I thought it was a very sweet film. I liked the depiction of the relationship between the father and the daughter, and the way that you kind of see them. They don't know how to express their emotions in normal ways. But they can express it through their art in ways with each other. And I thought that was a really, I know many people that are like that, maybe not in terms of being artists that way, but people who just kind of don't know how to tell you I love you, but they do something for you that kind of like conveys that message in a different way. And so I thought I liked that. The one thing I did not understand, and I'm curious what you think, Matthias, I don't understand Ellie Fanning and the critical buzz she got from this film. Like, it is a nothing role to me. Like the idea that she got a Best Supporting Actress nomination and it was like getting real traction from it. I was like, what is happening? Like,
I think she's very good in it, but I can see what you mean. But she's also, it is a nothing role, and she does a lot with it. She's very interesting. I think she's very, I think she's very interesting, and she adds a lot to it, because she's. The story with that is that Stellan Skarsgård, he's trying to make a film with his actress daughter, and she doesn't like him because he abandoned the family. So Elle Fanning comes in and takes the role, and they're trying to make it work like that. And so it's a nothing role, but it's also a role that makes both of them understand, both the daughter and the father, to understand that their relationship is important too. So I think she's kind of a key role in that way. But I understand what you mean. The other one I watched was Frankenstein, which I think is the weakest of the 5 I've seen. Okay. I think it's beautiful but empty. I don't care about anything. And then my winner would be Hamnet, which I think was fantastic.
Yeah. What did you like about it? Like, why would you have put that one?
I think it's an emotional story, and it's kind of fictional, but also not.
Yeah.
Like they take a real story and make a fictional version of it, which I think is very interesting. I always love that one, because it makes me interested in what actually happened. So afterwards I read up on it, which often elevates movies for me. But I also think the performance in that film is the best performances of the year.
Yeah.
So that's that. So I would have voted for Hamnet.
For me, the unsung hero of that film was the boy who plays Hamnet. I think he was. I personally think he was better than Jesse Buckley. I think he was better than Paul Mescal. I think he's the real glue to that movie.
Yeah, he is the glue, but I don't think that he's the best performance of it. It's also not fair to judge a child against professional actors. I think he's very good, but and he is the glue, but I mean, her performance is what's really made it interesting for me. So Benjamin, what have you seen, and what did you love, and why is it Marty Supreme?
Yes, as a fellow ping pong enjoyer or table tennis enjoyer. No, but I saw Frankenstein and Sinners. Those are the only two that I saw, and I didn't really keep in touch with the Oscar news or whatever. But I knew those, were nominated at the very least. And let me start from Sinners. It's a movie that I wanted to love. I really like it. but I wanted to love it, but I never could. For me, the movie reaches an incredible high, like in the middle when they're having the dancing session and the camera moves between different cultures. That was movie magic to me. That was just unbelievable. And then everything after that is good to pretty great. But I don't feel like it reaches the same height ever again. And Michael B. Jordan, I believe that he's two different people. I think he's really good in it. And the rest of the performances are everyone is really good in it, especially the guy who plays the main vampire. What is his name? Irishman.
I can't remember his name either.
I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah. Well, he's also a standout performance, and I think the movie moves beyond because the way it sets up the story, and I knew they were going to be vampires. I had that spoiled for me. I knew it already. So my fear going into the movie was that it was going to be a bit gimmicky. You know, you have these gangsters and you have the vampires. I was afraid that it was going to be, like a gimmick. But it tells a pretty powerful story about generational trauma. Not necessarily always racism, because the vampires, they are Irish. They were subjects of the British Empire, and they were, treated horribly as well. So it's a very compelling story about a vampire who specifically reaches out to the black people in a way that I understand you, in a way that to me is endlessly interesting. Yeah. But as I said before, I don't feel like it reaches the same. That for me is the climax. I really like the way it ends, in modern day or the 1990s. I really like that as well. But if the whole movie was like that experience, which is impossible, you can't have a whole movie like that. But if the whole movie was sort of in that ether, it would have been incredible. But for me, it's pretty damn good. I really like it too. Yeah. And as you said, Patrick, as well, it's going to be something that the story and what happens in is probably going to last forever. Like it showcases how ultimately the Irish are always going to be evil, no matter what. So it's a very timely movie. It's never going to change.
It's funny, we talk about the timelessness of movies, and that's something about Hamnet too. I think stories of grief like that are so human, they're going to transcend everything. It's going in 100 years, people are still going to be grieving the loss of children like they did in Hamnet, and are going to feel that.
Yeah, and in Hamlet as well, before Benjamin continues, there is the whole, how do you survive grief? And how do you forgive someone for seemingly abandoning you? And usually art is the one thing that brings you back together, which Hamlet is all about as well. So
Well, I find it pretty interesting how like if humanity was able to transcend from those types of emotions. I mean, there are a million different stories about it, but if humanity reaches a point where we don't grieve anymore, but which is a sci-fi concept, which leads me into my other movie, which is Frankenstein, like one of the first technically science fiction stories, and I really liked it. I mean, I love the story of Frankenstein, both the book and I think it has about 1 billion different adaptations, and in certain ways, this is one of them. It's not the best, but it has elements to it that I do find to be among the best. It stays closer to the book in regards to how the monster is, for the most part. And it actually attempts to tell the story. It's a story within a story within a story, as the book was. And it's the same story, basically. It's a story about flying too close to the sun. It's about challenging your own humanity. And it's not about grief, but it's about taking responsibility, which is something that Victor doesn't do. Yeah. He creates this monster, this living being, and he doesn't take responsibility for it. And he gets to suffer because of it. And something the movie does, which is pretty interesting, which I don't think any of the other movies do, is he rejects the monster pretty openly. And whenever the monster tries to get back to him, he rejects it. Once again, he calls it a monster. I feel like all the other movies, like we have the Kenneth Branagh version from 1994. He isn't even aware that the monster survives in the beginning. And all of the other versions, I don't think they are aware that the monster survives. But I find stories about having a character, ultimately they have to face some wrongdoing that they do, and which is I believe is the core of Frankenstein. And I think a director like Guillermo del Toro, he really likes those kinds of stories, like interpersonal stories. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to if he's going to do Dracula or whatever, or something similar. Or if he just does something completely different, because I would like to see something completely different, something that isn't a monster movie, or something similar. But I really liked it. But an Oscar winner, what did it win Oscar for? Just Best Picture or what?
Best costume, best set design, and something else.
All those are fair.
I can believe that. There is only one thing in regards to the cinematography that I'm not a huge fan of, which I think Guillermo del Toro's direction overcomes it. But it's the Netflix style in regards to how the movie is shot. Everything is shot in a wide angle, which I don't think is his decision. I think those are the guidelines of Netflix. It has that specific, I don't know what the ratio is. It's not 2:19. I think it's even wider. And which makes, because the camera is consistently moving in certain scenes, there are long takes, which is usually not his style, not at all. This is the least cinematic movie he's done, maybe except for his first picture, Chronos, which is a super low budget movie, but which, as I said before, his direction overcomes it because he's a fantastic director. But I'm not a fan of it. I feel like the long takes, it's not really his thing. I don't think it actually gives any greater purpose to the story of having these long takes where the camera travels around like the scene, even if the environments are beautiful. And I know it's a very specific Netflix thing. I'm finding myself growing increasingly. I don't dislike it, but it makes all of them look uniform, and I don't like that.
But it's the TV movie thing. It feels, at times at least, like expensive TV movies, and that is an issue.
I think the only movies that are an exception to it is whenever they make something animated, because it's animated. They didn't make, but they helped fund his Pinocchio movie, and that's totally different. But I'm sure that's because it's animated. Because what are they gonna do? Are they gonna give him their cameras to shoot his Well, it's a stop motion movie, but it's still gonna be according to his vision. I don't think they can do anything, but. But those are the only two movies that I watched, and none of them were amazing to me or anything. Sinners, as I said before, it reached a point where I felt it was amazing, but I would have loved an entire movie like that. And the racial story it touches upon it, and the story is about that, and I really like it too. But I don't know, it didn't transcend me. Except for that scene, I feel. Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I thought the ending of Sinners was probably the weakest part of it. Like, I agree, it kind of reached a crescendo with the music, and even when the vampires start to come in, I thought, okay, this is really good. And then it kind of took me a while after the movie was over to like deconstruct how what happens at the end is supposed to be a commentary, I think, on whether or not it was right for them to not join the vampires at the end. Because then they don't join the vampires and they wind up killing it, and everybody winds up killing each other anyway. And so it was like, I think that's what he was sort of trying to slyly go for, is go like, hey, you you assume the vampires are the enemy and always wrong, but this is the price of them not having lived by that code or having decided to join them, as now we have to be human and humans kill each other. And I kept kind of going like, okay, that's interesting, but again, it required more thinking as the movie was over for me, like, as opposed to something that just made sense within the story. But all right, so let's move on to Best Actor.
Director first.
Sorry?
You always forget the director. I think we go movie director and then actor.
Directors?
That's good. Director, the winner was Paul Thomas Anderson. Again, I had no problem with it. I think he really showed his strengths in being able to walk a tightrope with that movie, because I think a lesser director would have leaned too far in one direction or another, and then the movie would have felt unbalanced and not worked. But for me, if Sinners is my favorite of the bunch, I would have gone for Ryan Coogler, for pretty much the same reason that I said I like Sinners better. I think I think that direction also walked a fine line in a lot of ways, and his ability to move between genres and to move between characters and do the things that he did were equally impressive to me. But again, kudos to P.T. Anderson for being able to take a fine line in this movie and not and find a way through it in a movie in a story that was not going to be forgiving of any misstep that he had. Should we go Patrick again?
Well, I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson winning, it makes sense, but it's like a boring win, you know? Like when the straight A student wins, you're like, okay, yeah, just makes sense. Because he's just always, I don't think he's made a bad movie.
Yeah.
He always just makes technically really good movies. But I feel like, again, going back to Sinners, Sinners is something I've never seen before, really. Just the way it was, I don't know, I just feel like balancing all of that was so impressive, and the special effects and the two actors, one.
While he deals with his kid, life of a parent. Matthias, do you have any thoughts on who should have won or the director category?
I think I agree that it's a boring choice. I think it's kind of not saying much, saying that he balances on a thin line, because I think everybody does. In Hamlet, if you go a little overboard with the death scene, or if you go a little overboard, then the whole film falls apart. So I think it's the same thing with the sentimental value, which if you don't hit on the right notes, it falls apart. And Marty Supreme, if he's a little more likable, no one's going to like the movie. I mean, obviously. No, but I mean, I think it's all there. I think it's a little boring to go with the best picture winner for the best director, because that doesn't necessarily mean that it's so. I think One Battle After Another is a harder movie to direct than Hamlet, for example. Because there are so many things. I mean, all three acts are basically a different movie and a different tone, which is very hard to manage. And I think that he doesn't really manage it completely. But I think it's so. Yeah, I've seen all about Marty Supreme, and I think probably Sinners is the better choice. I mean, Ryan Coogler. I think that's more impressive to impressive. Everything is impressive, but I think that's probably the one that I would choose, because of the fact that it's going to be something that stays with people. It's going to stay in for 50 years.
Yeah,
probably. That's what I think. So continue, Patrick.
Did you have any extra thoughts, Patrick?
I mean, yeah, just really that, and I just think doing the Michael B. Jordan thing where it's he's playing two people, and keeping that in your head as you're filming, because you're not just giving direction to an actor to play one person, you're telling them how to react to themselves and what they're going to be acting in another scene. And I forgot that he's playing both characters because it's so seamless in the movie. And that's just is so impressive, especially those like wide shots where it's like that scene everyone talks about where he like hands a cigarette to the other brother, and it's so seamless. Just like there's so many little shots like that because it's the actor playing two characters, it's just that much more impressive. Any other movie, it's like, oh yeah, sure, like twins. But the fact that it's like the same actor, and he's got to like help that actor get in the headspace of two different people, and it just works so well in the movie.
Yeah. Benjamin, any thoughts on Best Director?
Well, I haven't seen One Battle After Another, but I've seen several of his other movies, and he has that kind of reputation for a reason. He is a fantastic director, and he makes very different types of movies. And he's had how long has what is his name again? Was it not Paul Thomas Anderson? I mean Ryan Coogler. How long has he been working? 10 years or something?
Probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Fruitvale Station's got to be 10 years old by now.
Yeah, I saw that in a theater, actually.
Yeah.
But how long has Paul Thomas Anderson been working? 30? Longer?
Seems like,
97, I think his first film was.
Yeah.
Is it 97?
He made one movie before.
I think Fruitvale Station was 2013, so it's 12 years, let's say. We have Boogie Nights 97.
He made one
Hard
movie
Eight
before
96.
that, didn't he?
Yeah.
I guess it's the first one. Hard Eight was 96.
Yeah.
I thought he was working in the 80s for some reason.
Yeah.
No, he's
crazy.
not that old. He's 50. What is he? 56 or something.
Yeah.
But it's a hard pick for me because I haven't seen it. But I believe that in Sinners, Ryan Coogler has proved that he's really comfortable behind the camera, obviously. But as you said before, he has to direct the same person doing two roles at the same time. Not at the same time, but usually at the same time. And he has to not only the actor, but the director has to convince us that it's two different people, because you can't ultimately only blame the actor, because it's approved by the director. It works in the movie very well, but it's a very strange decision ultimately to have him play. Thematically it ties into what happens later in the movie, but you could have had twins. You could have had two brothers who don't actually look that alike from each other. It's a conscious choice, which I find is a very interesting choice, and he's a good enough director for it to not become a gimmick, because he knows how to transform this special effect, because that's what it is, into two believable characters with two different agendas and emotions. And that's incredibly hard, outside of the story that it contains racial tension and Irish people. And he knows how to tell a very compelling story with these gimmicks, with these effects, and the effects aren't the focus. I would argue some of the effects aren't even that good, at the end where they burst into flames. Those effects aren't really that great, in my opinion. But it doesn't really matter because the narrative is so strong. So I don't know. I think Ryan Coogler would have been a more preferable pick, in my opinion, even though I've loved every single movie that I've watched by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Would you say he was a better pick than Del Toro would have been?
It's hard to tell because they're so different. I mean, I really liked Frankenstein, but I don't know. It's not the best directed movie he's done, and I don't think the direction for that specific movie trumps any of the other ones. If we would have picked, I don't know, something like Pan's Labyrinth or something, that would have won over any of these movies, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
from a directive standpoint. Well, I know you hate Guillermo del Toro, you hate Mexican people, Matthias, but no, I don't think it's his strongest movie. It's not his strongest direction either. No. I actually think it's he elevates the story of Frankenstein by the choices he makes in the story. rather than the direction, because I feel like his hands are tied by Netflix. In the same way that a real life studio ties the director for whatever else. No.
Then that moves us on to Best Actor, who the winner this year was Michael B. Jordan. And like we've all said a million times, I think so far,
No notes.
I think he's worthy of it. I think the fact that he creates two distinct characters that are not just distinct physically, but distinct emotionally, that you kind of don't, because sometimes people play two characters and the only reason you can tell them apart is one of them wears a yellow shirt and the other wears a blue shirt or something, where you're like, okay, whatever. But these two felt like different characters. They had different love interests, slightly different approaches to the world and to each other. And I think he was worthy of it. But my choice would have actually been, and I know it was a long shot, I think Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon I think he's a brilliant actor. I think it was the best performance he's ever given in his career. And I think also because he is, the whole movie from Blue Moon is basically one big monologue. And he is in every scene and every, there's almost nothing else to look at other than it's him in a room talking to various people. And the fact, again, that he does it and does it well is really impressive and really, really great. And I found myself really commiserating with him a lot, and kind of, his experiences caused me to think about my own life and different ways in which I have succeeded and ways in which I have not succeeded. And kind of, I found myself reliving my own emotional experiences in my life through that character. I also liked, the movie's very sympathetic towards his character, but he's not without blame in what happens to him in his life. And I liked that balancing act that movie kind of struck with him. And it all kind of stems from, in a weird way, he's something of a BS artist like Marty Supreme is, but he's a self-aware one. Mm-hmm. And he knows how to navigate different situations better, as opposed to Marty Supreme just kind of is like, I'm going to be who I am and screw the rest of you all. And even if you don't like me, he kind of is more bombastic. This one is a guy who you feel him trying to kind of move his way through the world, as opposed to just being a BS artist for the sake of being a BS artist. That you feel it when he talks to one person and he's shifted a little bit his attitude, as opposed to when he talks to, Oscar or, Richard Rogers or any of the other people. And you're like, and again, I kind of looked at that, I was like, that feels like a heightened version of real life. Like, people do that in real life. I talk to Patrick differently, or I talk to Matthias and Benjamin differently than I do my boss, or than I do someone that I want a favor from, or than I do my wife or my child. There is that nuance. And again, I saw a lot of myself in that character. And so for me, I would have given it to Ethan Hawke, but kudos to Michael B. Jordan for delivering a very technically brilliant performance. And again, two fully realized characters. And I think that's probably what did it for him. That's probably why people gave him the nod. But for me, it would have been Ethan Hawke.
So I have
go
to
get
be,
Patrick. Yeah.
No, I have to be the hater here. As I said before with Michael B. Jordan, I was confused at times which character was which. So I don't think it worked as well for me, especially when he's being killed.
Yeah.
Spoiler. I thought it was the other character first. I didn't get it for a short while until. So I mean, again, I think the main character, he's great. The other character is not as fully fleshed out for me. But then again, I'm an idiot, so what do I know? I have only seen One Battle After Another of the nominated films. I think that then Leonardo DiCaprio has become a little bit like Meryl Streep. For a while during the 90s especially, she was nominated. If she made a movie, she was nominated, not because she was great and not good enough, but because, it's Meryl Streep. I think it's become the same thing with him. Whenever he makes, I don't think he was worthy of a nod for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't think he should be here. he's great. He's a great actor, but it doesn't mean that he should be nominated for everything. And I don't think that he should be nominated here. Again, doesn't mean that he's terrible. It doesn't mean that. I think it's a safe bet to nominate him, especially when it's a successful and beloved movie like this one. It's very, very easy to go for him. And I think it's too bad because you miss out on that. That's how we get to the point where I don't think he should have won for The Revenant. But he won for that because he didn't win for the other ones. He should have won.
Yeah.
And you get that. So now one who wasn't nominated this time is going to win in a couple of years because he wasn't nominated one for this one. And then we are back to that. So, yeah, that's what I think. I don't have much else. Mike Brewer, I don't have a problem with him winning. I don't have anyone better that should have won because I haven't seen that much from last year.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, I pretty much talked about Michael B. Jordan in my last point. It's a very compelling performance, and it's how the director and most of all the actor works with this special effect. I find that very fascinating, and they're able to create two different compelling characters, even though Matthias thinks all black people look exactly alike and can't tell them apart. But I find it.
Well, in this case, they're twins.
In this case, they did.
Well,
In this case, they're the
The
same.
one case that's justified.
they are different. One of them is wearing more reddish clothes. The other one is wearing more
Yeah, but they
bluish.
look alike.
Well, I think one of
They
them
look
actually,
like in the face.
Well, no, I actually think one of them has a crease in his hair or something. You didn't see that? No, but I do think you feel like they are different people. I was never confused.
Mhm.
And I'm the one here with facial blindness. I have a hard time telling people apart at times. And this time it's played by the same actor with very little physical difference. But it still feels like different people. So I don't mind. But I can't really comment on Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, I like him as an actor quite a lot. I've never seen him or give a disappointing performance in anything really. But I don't know. My favorite performances of his are probably, I don't know, maybe The Aviator. I think he's fantastic in that. And probably the best performance he's ever given is probably in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, as a heavily mentally challenged person, but it feels very honest and believable.
Hand to God, that's the one I was thinking about.
Really, as
I
his
was
best
like,
performance.
it's What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah,
So an
it's
even better representation than Lawnmower Man.
only slightly. I feel like the character in Gilbert Grape should have worn these like farmer's clothes to really convey that he
Didn't have those classic suspenders that they all have to wear, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the blonde hair, the blonde mop of hair. He should have had that as well.
Of course.
So I haven't seen him in this. And when it comes to, something like Frankenstein, everyone is great. And that is why I know it wasn't nominated specifically. But I don't know. I think Jacob Elordi was fantastic as the monster. And what was his name? Is it Jason Isaac? What's his name?
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar, not
Oscar
Jason
Isaac.
Oscar. I think he was also. I think he gave a very, very compelling performance as a huge asshole. But you find his motive very believable because he has this hang-up about death and controlling death. And I feel like, you don't really like him, but the performance is good enough, and of course the direction, but the performance is good enough to make me believe and feel I understand where you're coming from. You have this obsession about death and controlling it because of, his past trauma and his past family, which I believe comes through in the performance as well, and not only the story. I don't know, I feel like he should have been given something out of these two films that I watched. But as I said, Jacob Elordi was really good as the monster too, which I guess it's not an easy performance, but you get to emote a lot. You get this full transformation, this very apparent and obvious transformation throughout the movie. That's what this character is. He transforms. He ascends from a mute character until someone who is probably more intelligent than Victor. Which is, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that an obvious performance is worse than something that's subtle, but neither am I saying that a subtle performance is automatically better. It's very, it's hard for me to decide. But because sometimes it's usually it's hard for me to judge a performance, because if I feel that like the character is more interesting, I usually pick that as a better performance, even though that's not usually or not always the case.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Patrick, you want to wrap us up on Best Actor?
Yeah. So I think Michael B. Jordan should have won it, so I was happy about that. But my runner-up was Ethan Hawke, because I thought Blue Moon was excellent. Like you said, Mike, he carries that movie. And then I also saw Black Phone 2 like a month or so prior to seeing Blue Moon. And Ethan Hawke in Black Phone 2 is playing like this character that's a serial killer that dies and comes back as a ghost that can haunt kids' dreams. He's playing like a Freddy Krueger-esque, like, I'm going to get you, kid. Hell froze over. And he's got this like mask, and it's like very goofy, but it's still like really scary how he plays it. And then watching him go from that to Blue Moon, and like a totally different performance. Like all the camp is gone, all the ham is gone. He's so genuine in that role. Like I've always liked Ethan Hawke. I've always thought he was a great performer. But just like he is such a good actor in the fact that like he can be so many things convincingly. Even like you think like First Reformed, Black Phone, Blue Moon, you put those three movies together, like they're so different in the way that he acts, the way that he performs, the way he carries himself. But you believe it. I just think he's just so good. And like you said, like he just carries Blue Moon, the whole movie is him. Like if you don't like him, you're gonna hate the movie. Because like, there's no reprieve from his talking.
Yeah.
But I just like what everyone else has already said. I think Michael B. Jordan, I think he won it. And Leo, I think too, is like the same things. Like if Leo won it, it would have been such a boring pick, and I don't think it's his best performance. I agree. It's just that they just gotta give it to him. It's like it's Leo, they gotta give it to him at this point.
Yeah.
But I was happy with how they won. Who won the?
Now we go to Best Actress. Jessie Buckley was the winner for Hamnet. And I think I'm actually going to be the outlier in this conversation. For me, with a bullet, it was Rose Byrne. For her role in If I Had Legs, I Would Kick You.
See, I haven't seen that one.
It's a great title. And I think that character that she plays there is a lot more complex and a lot more. That's a character that would have been very easy to hate and very easy to just disdain and dismiss, were it not for a performance that was so good and so involving. And so like she makes bad choices, and you could judge her for those bad choices, but instead you feel such sympathy for her, where you don't excuse the bad choices that she makes, but you understand them, and you go like, man, she's in a world where there is no support for her. There is no, she's an alcoholic who is trying, her husband is on an oil rig halfway across the world. Like people want to help her, and she's just so full of anger and so full of anxiety and so full of everything, and just kind of struggling to stay afloat. And I remember watching the film and going like, man, this is a character. I guess that was the thing that came to my mind is like, again, this is such a complex character. You don't see women in particular being allowed to be depicted in this way, to be struggling in this way. And like, and yet to have such grace and such strength even in the middle of it. And, she does things that are really unpleasant, that are really unlikable, but you feel like this is a real person. Jessie Buckley was great. And again, I can see Matthias's eyes is going to smite me for this, but it felt like very sentimental. Like I've seen this performance before, not necessarily from Jessie Buckley, obviously, but I've seen this kind of, it's, again, to me, a little overwrought, a little overly sentimental performance, which was great. And I'm not upset at her. She got it. Like, if Rose, I knew Rose was not going to get it. So I actually was fine with Jessie getting it. I was like, Rose is not going to get this. but I just kind of found her a little bit maybe more over the top at times and a little bit more kind of shrill than I would have liked. And again, I thought it was weird that you get to the end of the movie and she apparently doesn't know what a play is, because she's like, she doesn't understand that characters have names, and that the character, she's like, why are they calling him my son's name? Because he's a character in the play. You should, I'm sure, your kids were playing in the garden. You know how this works. You know what I mean? There were just some moments of overwrought kind of sentimentality that kind of, and I know it's awful to say it like this, but she was so sentimental at points that I think the movie was like, I was wondering, like, does the movie think she's intelligent? Does the movie think she is? I think the movie's talking down to her a little bit. And I liked the performance, but again, I didn't love it as much as I did the Rose Byrne performance. And Matthias, I want to go straight to you, because I can see in your eyes that you're going to smite me. You're going to send that dragon to come get me. So tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how wrong I am.
Oh, let me no. I don't agree with you. But I should just say that if I had Lex, I would kick you. Opened here yesterday.
Okay.
Really?
So that's the reason why we haven't seen it.
Okay.
I don't agree with. I think Jessie Buckley is brilliant. I think she's brilliant in everything. And I think it's gonna be for her. I think it's gonna be a situation with. If she hadn't won here, it would have been a situation with like Kate Winslet or Glenn Close, where she's never gonna win.
Although Kate Winslet won for The Reader.
Yeah, eventually, but it was a long time. The ending. I don't want to talk too much about that, but the whole point. I'm not going to say that you misunderstood. That's not what I mean. But the whole thing about her character is that she's not. She's kind of a magical being. She came from the forest and all that. So this whole thing, and she's never really understood what he's doing and. Why is he going away? Why can't they do that themselves? Why do you have to be the whole side story of that is a thing, and I think it's one of those things where either you buy it or you think it's too much. I don't think there is a middle ground with it, and I think her performance during the death scene, spoiler, but I think it's in the trailer. So if you see the trailer, you know. I think it's brilliant. I think it's sentimental, it's emotional, but it's never too far. And I think that she's shrill enough that she needs to be. And I think she's one of the best actresses working today. Actually, it's her and Florence Pugh. I think is going to be the two new big names that take over after Kate Winslet when she's retired. I haven't seen any of the others. I would like to see Begonia. I haven't seen it.
I think you will like Begonia. I think so too. I sung Blue. I want to see that. I missed it, and if I had Lex, I'm gonna see it if it comes down to a cinema near me. Sentimental value. The woman from that, she's great, but. I think in her case, it's more a thing that she gets nominated, which means that she's going to get an international career, and she's going to win for something else when she's working in America. I just think that I can't compare them because I haven't seen it, but I think Jessie Buckley. I'm very happy that you won. Let me say it like that. Yeah. I can't say anything else. I understand what you mean more than any of you understand why I wasn't as big on Michael B. Jordan, it seems. But that's all I can say. I'm sorry. Have either of you, Patrick or Benjamin, did either of you see Hamnet?
I saw Hamnet.
No, I didn't see it. I want to know, but I only saw a trailer and I didn't understand what it was until I read up on it. But I didn't really get what it was. And, well, it sounds extremely interesting. And when it comes to...
It's a very good movie.
Yeah, Matthias, he's talked endlessly.
It's a very good movie, but
Yeah, there's a big butt coming with Patrick. I can already.
I felt like, because it's like about William Shakespeare, I felt like the film was a little too nod, wink, wink to that. There are like parts where he's writing, and he's like, writing by candlelight, he's like, to be or not to be. It's like, yeah, we get it. It's Shakespeare. Like, if they just trimmed out, because I didn't think Jesse Buckley was too much. I feel like the Shakespeare was too much. Like, they played him up a little much, and that was just like kind of felt like too much. But when I saw Hamnet, there was this old couple who sat next to me and would comment on everything that happened in the movie. That's a bird. That's the bird that she had at the other part of the movie. Oh, look at that bird. The bird is back. I'm like, oh my God. I feel like those people at the end of the movie, like, just stop talking. And they're like, oh, was she pregnant? Clearly she's pregnant. Look at the way I'm like, yes, we know she's pregnant. It's very apparent she's pregnant.
I had that with
the whole movie.
I had that with Lincoln, the Spielberg film with Daniel Day-Lewis, when Tom Lee Jones' character he had a wig, obviously a wig, and the woman next to me, he didn't have hair. No, it's a wig. You fucking. I'm not gonna say anything. Everybody can see it. It's just the whole movie. Anyway. Yeah, or is it the next category?
Well, I can't really say anything because, I didn't watch any of the other movies, and the two movies that I did watch, come to think of it, I mean, a story like Sinners, are there really any huge standout female performances in that?
I mean,
everyone is great in it, but
the girl who plays Mary.
Yeah, she's good, but this.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say standout.
In the same way that male actors do. Same thing with Frankenstein. I mean, I really like Mia Goth. I think she's fantastic in Pearl as Pearl. I think she was okay in Frankenstein. It's a serviceable character that fills the story, and she was decent in it. And that's basically the only female character in the movie.
Yeah. The thing about her is I think since Pearl, and then I haven't seen more than the first one, but since those movies, it seems like she's become a horror movie actor. Everybody loves her and wants to. Every horror director wants to work with her, it seems. So she gets jobs in this. I mean, anyone could have done this role. I'm not saying that she's bad, not at all, but anybody could have done it. But I think she got rolled because he loves Pearl and
probably. I'm sure of it.
Well, and she's worked with everybody. She's worked with Lars von Trier. She's worked with Gore Verbinski.
Oh, what was in Lars von Trier? Which one?
She played in Nymphomaniac 2, Part 2. She's in there.
Oh, that's isn't that like 12 years ago or something?
It's been a while. And then she was in Gore Verbinski's The Cure for Wellness. And then she didn't get really big until she did, I feel like, when she did X, which is the beginning of the Pearl trilogy.
Yeah.
And then she was also in Infinity Pool.
Yeah.
So she was really good in that.
But so, Patrick, what did you think of the other nominated performances? Were you okay with Jessie Buckley, or was there?
Absolutely, and Jessie Buckley too is a fun one because, like with Ethan Hawke, I saw Jessie Buckley again in The Bride, and just seeing her range, because it's very different than Hamnet. She is playing a much more extreme, played-up character in The Bride, who is somewhat schizophrenic. So I won't ruin how, but she just is very played up in that movie, very over the top. So watching her go from a more restrained, earthy performance in Hamnet to this more punk, over the top, The Bride, she's just got so much range, But if it wasn't for her, from what I saw, it would have been Emma Stone for me for Begonia.
Yeah.
She did. Emma Stone always is good.
And don't forget, Jessie Buckley was in the best movie ever made, in Doolittle.
Oh, she in Doolittle?
Yeah, she plays the queen.
The Robert Downey Jr. one that came out and no one remembers but you.
Yeah.
I saw it in the cinema, sadly.
Wow.
That was one of those when everyone was trying to reboot everything to what's going to be the next big franchise.
Dr. Doolittle.
Well, they made it like super gritty or something, didn't they? It was like
Isn't it a fancy
really
movie?
fighting
No,
tigers.
I think it's serviceable in every other way except one, and that is Robert Downey Jr.'s accent that goes from one place to another in one sentence. It's all over the place every single time he opens his mouth. That's probably the worst performance I've seen from a big star in the last 25 years. Probably he's
Wow.
incredibly bad in that film.
Wow.
So I recommend it.
I really can't wait for you to see Begonia, Matthias. I think you're going
Yeah, I want
think
to
you
see
should
it.
I really
message
wanna
the
see it
group when
too.
you see it, and just I think you're going to be fascinated by it.
I want to see the original one as well.
The original one, because I saw the original one forever ago, so I knew about it. But when they announced the and also in the original movie, it's all men, and I think that does change also like the dynamic of the movie slightly,
Yeah.
because you don't feel as bad for the CEO when it's like this guy, because you just don't. Whereas with like Emma Stone, like because it's like again like it's all played up so much more in the original, so you don't feel as bad. But in the remake, you're sitting there like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah. Did Link open a treasure chest? Did you find it?
Yeah, that's my woman.
Uh,
She just texted me. That's her ringtone.
I love that that's your ringtone for her. Like,
Yeah, it's just for her. So
all right, so now we go into Best Supporting Actor, which Sean Penn won for One Battle After Another. I actually
and he didn't even show up to get the Oscar.
he didn't show up to get the Oscar. I enjoyed his performance a lot. I felt like and I mean this as a compliment, I felt like he was a cartoon character. Like I thought he was a cartoon Nazi, and I mean that as such a compliment.
That's I think how it was meant to be played.
Yeah, like I love the fact that in his case that he has these racial ideological values and cannot acknowledge that he is attracted to black women, and like he just doesn't integrate those values together. Like he doesn't think about them. And I thought it was really funny, and I enjoyed his performance a lot. And I remember like when I first saw the film, I was like, wow, if he gets nominated, that will be probably one of the ballsiest nominations in a long time, because he is he's a cartoon character, like that just happens.
And I think he's got
human.
some of the funniest parts in the movie too.
Yeah.
I think he is the funniest part of the movie and the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
I think without him, talking about glue, he's the glue that holds the film together.
Yes, very much.
He's so over the top and funny, and so everything. I think he's. This is probably the one where I don't mind the winner. I would have wanted. I wouldn't have picked him. I would have picked either Skarsgård or Delroy Lindo for it. Not only
I would have picked Jacob Elordi actually for Frank.
Yeah, he could also win it.
Yeah.
All of those three could have won it either way. But all of these four, and I'm taking out Benicio del Toro. I didn't get why I mean, he's great, but again, I don't get I don't get him.
No, he did a great job. It worked. It didn't break the immersion, but I wasn't like I don't remember his performance.
Yeah.
No. You remember Sean Penn?
Yeah. And so either of those four could have won. I think Delroy Lindo is. I've seen him my whole life in stuff, and you know his face. And here he's playing a completely different character, which is the point. But that stood out for me. I think Stellan Skarsgård got nominated for being around for a long time, even though he's also really good in it. Jacob Elordi is a revelation, as they say. I mean, he's just comes from I've never seen him before, and he's brilliant. So yeah, either of them could have won. I think it's I would have preferred someone else than Sean Penn because he already won 2 before. So
Yeah.
but it's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
And again, for me with Jacob Elordi, that's the heart of the film. I actually didn't like Oscar Isaac in the movie. I thought he was
I think
weird.
he's fine.
I didn't connect with him, but Jacob Elordi was the one that I was like, he's the one who changes throughout the course of the film. He's the character who grows and who kind of moves through everything, and I really liked him, and I liked his physicality too. I admire performances that are very physical in that way, that it's not just an intellectual trick. You have to change the way you move and the way that he interacts with his body. It kind of felt that I felt his performance come through the screen. So I would have given it to Elordi, but yeah.
Is another one gonna pick Michael B. Jordan for Best Supporting Actor?
Yeah.
That would have been funny if they did that.
For the same character.
That would have been a power move in that case.
What do you think, Benjamin? Would you have given it to Elordi as well?
Probably. I mean, as I said before, it's hard if you've only watched 2 of these movies on this list here. But if I have to get back to Sinners, I mean, okay, Best Supporting Actor, if I'm being serious, like who? I mean, well, the guy who plays the main vampire, as I said, I can't remember his name, but he's fantastic in the movie. But I guess that's a supporting character as well. But aside from him, who else could it be in Sinners?
The old drunk is the one.
Delroy Lindo was what it was.
Yeah, he's really good too. I can't really remember that much from him.
Yeah. For me, with him is as I said, I grew up watching him, and he has never played this kind of character before, so that's why he stands out for me. But I can get that.
Yeah. And I know we've kind of like talked a lot about these films kind of ad nauseum at this point, but any final thoughts on this category?
Did the actor from Begonia get nominated?
Jesse Plemons? I don't think he did.
Yeah. So that for me was a misstep because I thought he did so good. Like
but would that be leading role or supporting role?
Yeah, that probably would have been.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
It's tricky with that because there's like only 3 people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
But then take out Leonardo DiCaprio and you have a place.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, honestly,
I would have taken out DiCaprio and put in Russell Crowe from Nuremberg.
I didn't see that one, but I thought Jesse Plemons played a more interesting role than DiCaprio did.
Yeah.
In One Battle, because he's playing a character that's so divorced from reality, but you see what he sees, and it's hard not to agree with him. And then it's like the way he just does that character is so interesting. And there's so many little like nuances and like to the things he'll say, like he has like a line where he's like talking to his cousin. He's like, "I'm not going to hurt you because I love you, and love is never supposed to hurt," or something like that. Because he's like then we slowly find out about this trauma he's had. Like there's all these little like things he did in his acting, and I'm just like, he's just so good.
I love, speaking about that film, I love the script so much. I love the corporate double talk with which Emma Stone speaks. Matthias, you'll really love this film. Like
it's so good. I mean,
I think it.
I want to see it. You have no idea how long I want to see it.
Yorgos Lanthimos is probably like top 10 for me. I think he's such a good director.
Yeah. I've seen The Favorite and I've seen Poor Things. The other ones hasn't opened. I live in a small town and it hasn't opened here, which is very annoying.
You're gonna have to go stream Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster.
Yeah, I know. I'm
so
looking
good.
for all of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make one of those my next pick then. Make you guys watch it. Probably The Lobster. Oh, but I don't know.
Oh, but I wanted to see that for a long time. I loved Poor Things.
Yeah.
It's funny how Matthias says that he lives in a small town. It is a small town, and it also happens to be one of the many cornerstones of Swedish cinema. because of historical things. But apparently they don't get a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Except for Bergman. I know Matthias has a complicated relationship with Ingmar Bergman now.
In what way? When have I said this?
Well, you've said that, you said that you made a comment that, like, you said his films are great, but his shadow is so big.
Yeah. Okay.
That's squashed.
True.
Like,
yeah. No, it's more that that I read somewhere a few years ago that in the Swedish film business, people are wondering why don't we ever get Oscar nominated for best foreign film when Denmark and Norway get it all the time, and then. The same time, like a couple of weeks later, I read someone else, a producer in the Swedish film business, said, "Oh, we're so beloved in international film. Just look at it. We have Bergman. Yeah, but he made his last film in 44 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be in his shadow anymore. You have to get out of it.
Yeah.
And they won't, because I don't think they need to, because they're still making money from him. And I think it's so stupid. But we're not here to talk about that. We can talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
Well, there's that film review. I watch international movies. I've seen The Seventh Seal.
Yeah.
And now we get to me. I think this category was, and I know it's just my opinion, the best supporting actress category was the most forgettable to me. Like, you could have picked any one of them out of a hat. To me, any of the performances out of a hat, and I didn't see Weapons. As you guys know, I don't like horror movies, but I think I will see it. I have friends that I had one friend who told me, in his opinion, he said this is the greatest villain since Hannibal Lecter. In his opinion, he said I think this performance will stand the test of time. I think it will become the performance by which other villainesses are judged, in the same way we look at Hannibal, and that intrigued me enough that I think I will eventually see it, despite the fact that I know I will probably really struggle with parts of it.
Did either of you watch Weapons?
I watched it.
Yes, and I was about to comment on that.
Yeah,
but, I'm guessing
I have some thoughts about that. I don't know who's gonna start about it.
I could.
I think I picked the girl from one battle after another, but just because I kind of felt like, okay, they're all, again, to me, the ones that I saw, they were all equally kind of forgettable. And I was like, oh, she's kind of a little wacky and a little weird and a little like, give her the nod a little bit. But again, I didn't see the winning performance. And of the ones that I did see, none of them particularly stood out to me where I was like, oh, this one is the performance here.
Okay, then I'm gonna take over. I would have picked her as well, because I think just as Sean Penn, she's very, very, very cartoony and very funny, and she holds the first act together as much as she can. DiCaprio runs around there and he's trying, but she's there and just keeping it together. I think, and I'm gonna get more flack than usual from this. I think Weapons is really, really good. I think the worst part about it is Gladys, and I don't mean the character. I mean, the character. I hate the character. I think she ruins the movie because she's so cartoony and over the top as well. And then when she gets going, that's the first part. And then when she gets going, I like her more and more. I mean, I hate her more and more. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I thought that when she comes in and has the visit at the school and so on, it's such a messy thing. I don't like her. I think she's just out of place in the movie. And then when you get more of the story, I kind of see the point of her, and I think she's great in the role. I just think that she's the kind of the weakest part of the film, and I don't agree that it's the best villain ever or whatever.
Since Hannibal Lecter, that's what.
I don't agree with that at all. I think she's a great villain. I think that she kind of ruins the movie for me, but the movie is great anyway. I would have wanted that to be nominated for a Best Picture. Actually, that would have been fun, rather than Frankenstein or something like that. But I would have picked One Battle After Another because she's she's very, very, very funny.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Well, I was going to
Patrick?
comment on. Okay, sure.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to comment on weapons. So I think
Yeah.
when it comes to her performance, I'm going to try to be brief because Matthias already talked about it. But I think a lot of the acclaim of her performance, even though I do think she's good, it's a very cartoony character. I think for those who haven't seen it, I think it matters a lot what happens to her at the end. The reaction from the audience seeing what happens. I think that makes a huge difference in how the audience perceives the character.
That's true.
That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm
You know,
gonna
she
say,
reminded. Do you guys know the band Twisted Sister?
Yes.
Have you heard of it?
yeah,
Yes.
The first
like
thought
Dee
that came to
Snider
my
energy.
mind was Dee Snider, the singer
Yeah.
who dresses in a way that looks like her.
I think weapons. I think her performance is cartoony and over top and ruins the movie if you don't consider it a comedy. Because I don't think that Weapons, just like his other movies, Zach Craker's other film Barbarian, is meant to be completely serious. Like, I think it does tackle some like really interesting subject matter, some really serious subject matter. But I do think there is like this cartoony through line to the movie. And just some of the setups and some of like the ideas, some of the execution, some of the over the top scenes of the violence is like so over the top in some of those scenes to where it almost comes off slapstick. And previously to doing these horror movies, he was part of a sketch group called Why As Kids You Know, where it was just hilarious and over the top. And there's a scene in Weapons where a character's eating is like 6 hot dogs, and then like all this, which is reference to a sketch they did in the show where a doctor's like, "How many hot dogs did you eat?" And the guy's like, "I ate like 6. Is that a lot of hot dogs?" So I feel like Weapons isn't meant to be an entirely serious film. So I don't think that her performance actually is too over the top within that context. But I'm curious, they're making a prequel movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. The problem that I have with it is that the first time you see her, I think that's not the jump scares. I don't think it's when she gets to the school and she's so crazy looking. It's like she's from a different movie. And then when the comedy sets in with it, because it is very funny. And the ending is hilarious and all that. So there's always funny things in the movie. But with her character, she stands out so much to me that when she starts to become funny, when you go into that part of the story, then I get it. But by then, I've already been taken out of it a bit. I think that's the issue. It's the same thing with The Substance. The last 20 minutes. I think the movie before that is almost brilliant. I think it's one of the best horror movies ever, if you can call it a horror movie. I probably wouldn't. The last 20 minutes is so different that I laughed my ass off when I watched it, but it's not the same movie. It takes me out of it and becomes a comedy, and that is too much. And I think that the first 25 minutes with her is the same thing, and it takes me out of the movie, and then I get back into it, and yeah, it's fun, and then the ending is great. But it's that thing where she's too much. I think maybe if she had done like a transformation, she comes in looking normal, more normal, and then she gets crazy, and then she looks like that in the end, or maybe in the flashbacks or something like. I don't know. It's something about it that makes it just takes me out of it, and then it's too late. Then it's hard to get that back. That's what I think.
Would you guys recommend that I see it?
Yes.
I think so. I don't. Like, what do you not like about horror movies?
I don't like being scared.
You're not going to be scared at
It's
all.
not scary.
There are a few jump scares. I don't like jump scares. I don't like jump scares. I think they're cheap, and there are like a few. And then there are some scenes that are a bit creepy, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
You're not going to turn off the movie and need the lights on.
No.
Like, I thought The Substance was too much. Like, I didn't care for
The Substance is worse than this, I think. The substance.
Definitely. Well, 'cause
I don't think the
plays it
substance.
straight.
I'm sorry.
Oh, as you said, the substance plays it really straight until like that last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and the substance is, it's also creepy, but I think this is, I don't think so, but I recommended you to watch Substance and you hated that one, so I'm not gonna.
If you loved it, I recommended it. If Matthias loves it, then you can just say you hated it.
Yeah, but I love the weapons.
I do recommend it to you.
I love the weapons as well. So
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not
maybe
even-
I'll try it at least. Maybe after the baby is born, or maybe when I'm going through
While she's in the delivery
horror.
room, be like, I gotta watch this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
You're like on your phone, like,
yeah.
you guys
The
be little
horrors of
fighters?
being a
Watch
newborn
my
parent
movies.
again. I'm going through the newborn phase. Like why not
Oh.
add a extra level?
Well, you're not going to be able to
Well, when
sleep
Sage-
anyway. So
When
Might as
Sage
well
was
watch
little
it.
itty bitty, I had her strapped to my chest and I was watching the first Terrifier movie, which is about that killer clown. But now that she's older, she loves all these spooky things. I'm like, it's my fault. So I let her as a baby sleep while I watch this really messed up horror movie.
You know, before we end today's episode, I was just thinking about this. If you guys want a random movie that got nominated that I thought was actually better, it'd be the documentary The Perfect Neighbor. It's on Netflix. And what I liked about it is I thought the way in which the film was put together was really interesting because it's about, you know, this shooting that I had actually heard about it when it originally happened. This neighbor that's kind of crazy shoots her neighbor, and like it became this sort of commentary on stand your ground laws and like all that sort of thing. Florida's crazy. But the thing that's interesting about this film is that it's a documentary. There are no talking heads. There's no one that actually speaks into the camera. There's no script. What it is it's
Whoa.
made up entirely of the body cam footage of the cops who went to this house multiple times. And so you don't know anything that is not filmed, that is not on film. There's not anything there's no script.
Whoa.
There's no introduction of character. There's no build of character in the traditional sense of the word. And it created this really immersive experience where you actually, for me, I was watching it. I felt like one of the members of that community who were just coming in and coming out. And, you know, as tensions mount, you feel that same way of like, you know exactly what they know. You're not being given access to any information beyond those cameras, beyond those recorded body cameras, which is interesting. It was an interesting way to film something. And the fact that it worked really well, in my opinion, makes it worth watching. And I would recommend it just on that. If you want to see a documentary that is just filmed different and kind of has a different feel to anything you've seen before, that would be one.
Yeah.
that sounds very interesting. I don't have access to Netflix, so I can't watch it. But
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Well, when you and Benjamin watch Wendy, this can be the next one.
I actually, as I typed, I was visiting a friend, and I actually suggested it to him.
Yeah.
But and we believe we found it,
Okay.
but the file didn't work. So we ended up watching a horror a serial killer mockumentary instead.
Ooh, which
we were
one?
gonna watch it next time we came over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy.
So I am
Yeah.
going to watch it because
Good.
Are we going over the next film? The next
Oh, yeah.
for next
Who
film?
wants to?
I think it's my turn to choose.
before
for it.
you continue, I just have to say that in case anyone gets surprised, there's probably gonna be a cut in the middle of. We weren't talking any of the movies. We're having a general discussion because when we were talking about Begonia, someone mentioned the original, and I ended up, searching for it and looking
Yeah.
up, which I'm the one recording, so so I left the chat.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make a cut in between it in case anyone is wondering why a huge important part of the discussion isn't in it. It's only a general discussion. It's not part of the movie talk.
Good. What's our movie, Matthias?
Is it the
I'm
Lawnmower
gonna
Man?
do, and if you can't find it watchable for you, just say so, and I will change it. I'm gonna go with the 39 Steps by Hitchcock because it's my
Yeah.
first Hitchcock and my favorite Hitchcock.
Okay.
That should be easy to find. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it
if
should
you
be
can't
easy to
just say
find.
so, yeah, but if you can't say so, and I will change it. But otherwise, it's gonna be that one.
Okay.
Favorite.
And I think didn't we book like 3 times last time?